Hey, just as a note, there's some audio issues for about the first 10, 15 minutes of the podcast. It goes away. Keep listening or fast forward if it's too annoying. But here we go. Welcome to Who Put This On, Season 4, Episode 37, where we watch Flirty Dancing, Season 1, Episode 1. I'm Chris Lorenz.
Hey, this is James.
Robert Kitts.
Dancebeth.
I'm Harrison Hoffman.
Welcome, guys, to Love month again.
Yeah.
Back to the love. Welcome, James.
Back to the love. It's always love. I feel like every time I show up, it's always love month.
Well,
Yeah.
we're dropping this right before Valentine's Day, so you got to go for the love then. Yeah, if
Obviously.
not now, then when?
This is Who Put This On's Valentine to you, the listener.
Harrison, what do you got for the show description?
Actress, producer, and dancer Jenna Dewen will host Flirty Dancing, the innovative new series that is part performance, part blind date, and all about romantic chemistry. In the show, complete strangers are each taught half of a dance routine, then meet for the first time on a blind date at a breathtaking location, where they will then dance together without saying a word. In this romantic approach to dating, these singles will push themselves out of their comfort zones in the hope of being swept off their feet, rather than swept to the left or right on a phone. That's Flirty Dancing.
Ooh, some
on
shade.
Fox.
Some shade there.
I
That's-
have a quibble with that description in that they don't learn half of a routine. They learn a whole routine. They're just half of the partnership.
Very, very true.
You gotta get those words right. You know what I mean? Words
Meh.
matter.
All right. So what happens in the show is they introduce one person that is going on quote unquote these dates, and well, I don't know those quotes there, but anyway, they're gonna go on 2 dates with 2 different songs, and they learn the routines for each song. They introduce the other 2 people, and they only learn one routine. Then they go on this fancy week-long dance routine learning bit. Then they go dance. We get to see the whole thing. And then they get to pick one of the 2 to go on a second date with. And then we get to see it again with a different person and different 3 people. So it's been a long time since we've seen a show like that. It's been... I can't remember the last one.
Yeah, this was interesting that there's 2 sets, but they don't interleave it. They're just like, here's the first crew, start to finish. Okay, intro new crew, start to finish. Like, you could easily just say, instead of making this an hour show, make it a half-hour show, and you see each one, and just chop it in half.
Yeah, it's minutia, I guess, at that point. But I mean, that's the show.
That's the show.
I guess we're into the minutia.
Wow,
Is it
that's
opened up?
that's record time into the minutia, I think.
Record time. What is everyone's initial thoughts on this show? I'm kind of the show is very meh to me.
So on this show the show, they intro the people, and then they talk about these are the songs, and you see dance class going on, and I had trouble staying checked in for that part. And then we'll get into, they do the dance, and the dance is real fun to watch, but then post-dance and the reactions, and then trying to figure out who they're going to pick, that part I was much more intrigued by. Which I was like, but if they did nothing to try to intro these people and just went straight to the dance, be like, oh, I want to know more about what happened and what happened first. But then I think there's an execution problem and I can't put my finger on it, but something about that early part was just not interesting enough. But I'm trying to figure out what it is, and I'm currently not really sure.
I agree with that. I think somehow the show's trying to do too many things. The dancing is really good, and the way it's cut together, the way the actual dance is cut together is really cool and very beautiful. But I agree that the part before the dance, you're not invested yet for some reason. But I do want to know who these people are.
Well, I mean, in this particular episode, there wasn't a lot of drama during the actual learning of the dance and kind of the dance lessons, so I think it just kind of plays a little bit flat because there's it's just kind of a montage of a bunch of classes, and you can kind of tell that they're getting better, but there's not really any drama or anything that interesting happening.
I think that's it. Like I think that is the thing, and I was trying to wonder. I'm like, is it pacing? Is it slow? And it's not that it's slow, but I think it's more of that montage vibe that you brought, where they just kind of generally kind of show it, and because they kind of show you it in this kind of lackadaisical kind of method, I don't think you get really bought in. So you're kind of like, oh, whatever. It's just kind of like a commercial's happening. Let's see where they go, and they kind of get better, and then fast forward. Okay, it's dance day.
Yeah, I think they need to show us like a little bit more of that first rehearsal where the person's really bad and then like nothing else until dance day. And then you're very impressed. Like there was one person we saw who like he was trying to do a lift. He was trying to like lift his partner and he had a bad time and then we were watching the actual dance and Rob was like, "Ooh, let's see if he does that lift." And I got very excited. I think it's that and also that they don't get to make any decisions about the dance or the song or anything. So, like, you're not really concerned about the person judging them on any of that kind of stuff. Whereas I think it'd be kind of interesting if, like, the main dater person, like, got to pick the song or something and you'd be like, ooh, like, I wonder how that's going to play. Like, interesting choice.
Or if the people, like, that weren't you could do it either way.
Yeah, or they could pick
and, like, the people that they were picking from, so the two options, if they each had, like, some input and there was, like, an interview segment or something, I think you might be more invested in that phase. But yeah, because they're just like, hey, this is the song you're doing. We picked it out for you. Here's the clothes you're going to wear. Here's the makeup you're going to wear. That's it. Like, just do it. You're like, okay, well, it just is what it is.
All right, too much. We gotta get back to the minutia here. We gotta step.
Whoa!
This is the minutia.
What is happening? What a role
We
reversal!
didn't really tee up. Like, no one knows what you're talking about. Gotta talk about Octavius, our boy Dr. O.
Okay.
He's our first gentleman that is gonna learn how to dance. He's a tall, dark gentleman. I don't know the.
Likes long walks on the beach.
Yeah. Sorry. He is a band instructor or like a gym teacher or something. Unclear.
I think
I
he's like
think he's in a classroom.
I think he's like a music and performing arts type of teacher.
He was definitely, there were some shots of him like teaching a drum line and like doing stuff with students. He's definitely involved with some, it seems like maybe like middle school kind of age roughly.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And
I thought it was Mr. O, not Dr. O.
I think so.
I think it was, I wrote down Dr. O, so you gotta blame the notes.
You took the notes.
I don't know what you're talking about. I did write Doc Ock above that, so like maybe I got a little confused.
Yeah.
Chris, how many seltzers have you had?
I've had 2 seltzers.
Which seltzer is sponsoring tonight's episode?
Smirnoff hard seltzers.
There you go.
Giving it to the big boy.
They can send me more, and I'll keep repping it on the pod. So then we got Megan, which is the first person he dances with.
Mm-hmm.
She is in school to be a barber.
Yes.
I wrote down that she's 32. Does anyone know how old Octavius was?
I did
No
not.
idea.
Young 30 sounds about right.
Okay.
He's in that range. I don't know.
Let's give him a hip 31.
Yeah.
Well, then the second person that he goes on a dance with is Mary Marie, which is 39, and I forget I didn't write down what she did. The first song they sing is the what? Anyone have any notes around?
She's a romantic. We do learn that. So as the what's the name of the host of the show? Jenny?
I have no
Jenna
idea.
Dewan.
Is she famous?
She is known for one thing, I believe. Have you heard of the movie Step Up?
Yes. Oh.
So Step Up, for people who don't know, is famous for being the thing that unleashed Channing Tatum onto the world. And his co-star, Step Up's a dance movie, and his co-star was Jenna Dewan.
Okay.
Wow, okay.
This makes sense.
Pulling
Thank you for
some
this.
Jeopardy moves right there.
I mean, the Internet Corner was very helpful to me in constructing that timeline.
That was very helpful. Okay, so Jenna tells us why she has picked these 2 people. We are under the illusion that Jenna has picked them out of the crowded city streets of LA. But she picks that first woman because she's independent, and she picks the second woman because she's romantic.
This is a thing the show leans into of Jenna is the puppet master who's deciding everything, and like, does anyone watching this show thinks Jenna is picking these people or picking these songs or doing anything? Like,
Not
it's
a
so
chance.
it's
No.
strange to me. Like, why
Yeah.
are you
Well,
putting
and
this artifice on
She's
here?
positioning herself as a Dr. Pepper-esque matchmaker, and it's not really working. I
You
don't
gotta
know.
trust the process.
No.
They mentioned the word process.
They
Everyone
did.
in this room was like, "Oh,
They didn't talk about trust in the process, though. Maybe this process can't be trusted.
yeah, yeah."
I wish we'd gotten a little bit more about the
I-
process.
I think this is part of your problem, Rob. Is like, I'm going over who these people are. We have nothing to say about any of these people. Like, if they did more of like a, "Hey, this is where I live, and this is like actually my dating life," instead of just giving like
Okay.
a one sentence blurb about like, yeah, I work from 8 to 8, so I was unavailable.
Okay, Chris, here's your trade-off, though. Like, if you get the deeper backstory about the people, you can only do one trio per
Oh, forget it.
hour-long show.
I mean, I'm pretty out on the show already, so like,
Yeah.
But this is like, I think Chris is somewhere of like, we needed more backstory. But if they'd given us more backstory, we've been like, this show is so long, they
For
gotta
sure.
cut some stuff out. Half-hour show, or maybe put 2 dances in. Like, we definitely would be saying that.
well, some of the backstory we actually did get was like the NBC style backstory. It was like, if you had a sob story, they told us about it.
Yeah.
Which like the one Octavius's mom passed away a couple of years ago, and that was like the only thing we know about him. And I was like, that's so weird. Like, is you only a sob story? Like, it's
and he went through a breakup that made him reevaluate things.
yeah.
And it's hard for him to date because he works a lot.
And that was like the most I know about any of the people on the show, other than
Yeah.
the second group. Like, somebody has like a really high nasally kind of voice.
I mean,
That's like, yeah.
we'll get
We'll
there.
get
we have
there.
we'll get back to that, but like, I know nothing else about her either. So it's just very weird. Don't really care about any of the people on the show.
I have a very strange question. I thought it was strange that she said she's in school to become a barber and not a hairstylist.
I thought that, too.
Well, I think those are different things, though.
Yeah, she was barbering when they showed her cutting the one dude's hair.
Yeah, I think
So that is
barber is. Yeah, I think barber is like a different thing than a hairstylist.
Interesting.
Different cuts. You're using the trimmers.
Is that like a different like level of certification or skill or something, or like?
I don't know if it's a different level of a skill, but I think it is a different title and sort of profession
Yeah.
and specialty in the hairdressing world.
Gotcha.
Right. She also, fun fact, mentioned that she got into barbering with the hopes to meet somebody.
And
Like-
this guy needs a barber.
Oh yeah.
No shade on this guy's hair. It was very good in this episode, but you know he's visiting a barber.
Oh yeah,
Could be
he's
her.
definitely got that barber haircut. Strong barber haircut. I do feel like, so back to Mr. O. I feel like they
you
did a
sure
good
it's
job
Mr.
without
O?
like knowing his full backstory of like giving you a good feel for his personality. I don't know
Yeah.
if the show did it or he just has like a really like pleasing personality that's very fun and bubbly and like kind of energetic kind of dude. But like I definitely felt like he was the most like enjoyable, like one of the most enjoyable pieces of the show. He just brought a lot of positivity and good vibes and energy, and you could just tell from the beginning he was down to just dance and have a good time and see where this goes.
He was
all in.
really cool. He was like talking about how he pushes his students out of their comfort zone. He's like, "That's what I'm doing."
Yeah, he said he's the happiest, I think, when he just gets up and starts dancing with the students and gets them to start doing stuff. So
I mean, it's pretty clear when he starts his dancing, they're all talking about how, oh, it's all about the eyes. We got to look at the eyes. It's all about the first look in the eyes. And they like show the first move, and it's all about like looking them straight in the eye. And it was like, that's the only thing I know about any of the dances in this whole show was like, oh, it's all about the eyes for this guy.
you got to make that eye contact. That's the only thing I've learned.
That's the only thing.
Well, so like that was one of the personal kind of preferences of this guy. He's like, and I really need to make eye contact. Need to be able to see their soul. So then when they were training these girls up to dance, them, it's like it's the most important thing you can do is to make eye contact.
It was a big deal in
Yeah.
like this this first half of this episode for sure. It was also like anyone like the music choices were kind of so it seemed like the formula was first one was like upbeat, second one was like kind of like a more romantic style at night dance.
Well, first one was the Ain't No Mountain High Enough.
Yeah, from Remember the Titans.
What
What?
was the second one? It was
I wrote it down.
This was Shawn Mendes.
It was like a
No, Shawn Mendes
I
is
think it
the
was
that
like
was the second one.
Roma or something.
I don't
That's what
know.
wrote
it was a very romantic slow song.
Yeah.
But Brian, who was here for the show and not,
Oh,
was very disappointed. It was not the original version of the song. It was some different version of the song, and he was clearly very upset about this.
It was I Want to Dance with Somebody,
Yeah,
Oh,
But a slow cut.
but a slow cover, a slow weirder cover.
I don't know if it was necessarily weirder.
No, it wasn't weirder. It was just
yeah.
it was, you know.
By contrast, they were very contrasting songs. Like the versions of
Definitely.
them. One was very fun and lively. The other one was much more slow paced and like up close and personal romantic.
I mean, on that front, he kind of looked more uncomfortable on the second one than the first one. Like
Oh,
the
for sure.
first one was more on the lines of what he wants to do versus the second one.
So
What-
I actually wonder how much does the song choice like end up being the thing that decides it for him? Because one thing about this show is it's very much you have to judge the person on their looks kind of show. Because they're like, oh, there's the chemistry from the dancing, but like let's be real, like you're like, oh, I've just seen these people and I haven't been able to talk to them. But then how much is just like if you just get the better song that just fits your personality more, you're like, oh, that was more fun. I'm into that person, and you know the
think
producers
that-
have set it up before it even happens.
It definitely is a better situation than dating Naked Attraction, which is like you're just like
Anything is a better situation than
Well, I
Naked
just mean
Attraction.
like based on like
Wait,
you're-
wait, hang on. I can't let. Is it Naked Attraction or Dating Naked?
Those are two different
The
shows.
two, there's
Okay.
two shows.
I was very confused because the show that I feel like I saw was Dating Naked, but
No,
there's
no, no.
another show
No,
called Naked
you,
Attraction.
You saw Naked Attraction.
Yeah.
That was
No.
a British show.
It's the one where this person's standing behind the frosted glass panel, and then it just keeps like raising up from the
Oh,
bottom.
yeah.
Yeah,
Which is to be clear though, Rob, I have also seen Dating Naked.
No, I'm not saying you haven't seen Dating Naked.
we've definitely done Dating Naked on the show.
Yeah,
haven't we?
that
was
was like the
season
second
one.
or third show we ever
Hey,
did.
you gotta throw back the deep cuts.
doppelganger.
Wait, can
Anyway,
I quickly say two
so-
words?
so-
I gotta say two words. Dancing naked. Okay.
Oh my god!
Yes.
Bad naked.
Oh,
bad
Bad
naked.
Naked.
You got to watch that Seinfeld episode. Anyway, so my reference is like Naked Attraction is you like literally the only thing you can do is kick them off by their looks. It's like this, you actually do an activity and you can see how like comfortable they were. You also don't get like, I mean, you get a decent look at them, but you're not like the amount of judging time you have is pretty small. Like you've got 3 minutes and you're focused on dancing. Probably mostly. So I don't know. I think it's more about like your comfort and feel, and like looks obviously are a thing because if it's, but
Yeah, I mean, I think that was kind of what played into this first set, and the first woman was way more comfortable, looked like she was having way more fun dancing, and was like more expressive in that way, and then the second woman was definitely a little more uncomfortable, definitely less of an experienced dancer, it seems like, and I think that just kind of rubs off on how you feel about the interaction.
yeah.
Also, the first dance, they really open up with a banger here.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
We got to get into like the situation of the dance.
oh yeah.
Yes.
So the first move they pull, and I'll tee it up, which is, so it's shot in 16:9. All of a sudden they letterbox in even more, and the music cues in, and then these two people for the first time see each other, and in this first dance they're just in this public park in like the middle of the day. There's a handful of people around. I guess it's LA somewhere, so I don't know.
All this stuff is in LA.
And then the most impressive thing I thought about this, I'm curious how you guys thought, was the whole dancing on top of this basically layer of water that was, I don't know, maybe an inch or so deep. Not so deep that you couldn't stand on, but like their shoes weren't submerged. Very hard to describe, but it looked very cool.
It looked really cool, and they're like kicking it around. It was beautiful.
It's like a fountain that's like the depth of like a puddle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of dancing.
It's
in
definitely
it.
some puddle
That's a good way to
dancing.
put it.
Yeah.
It's unclear if people can usually walk through this fountain. Seems like no.
Seems like no.
Part of me was just hoping like a cop would just interrupt the dance, and be like, "Get out of here!" I'm sure
And they
Fox.
cannot speak to each
I'm
other.
sure Fox paid for the permit.
I thought the hardest part of the dance was they have to get to the fountain. They have to walk down a whole flight of stairs together,
which seemed very dangerous.
It's not just walking on a flight. They're like got their hands on each other.
Yeah.
They're kind of trying to like, sort of shimmy down the stairs. And so I was really wondering, like, so they're in the dance studio practicing their dance moves. I was like, how do they practice the stairs and the fountain? Like,
Yeah.
was there a dress rehearsal on location? Or was it just like, okay, so now there's going to be these stairs and you're going to kind of do this. And then there's going to be this fountain. I
have to believe there was a dress rehearsal.
They must do it on
Like,
location
with
a couple
doubles
times.
This is
or
another
whatever.
thing.
Sure.
This is the thing about the show that like is one of these things of why the show just kind of doesn't work. Of I want to know more about how they practice and set that up, but they don't want to show us that because they don't want to give away the dance itself.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
but there's no way to fix that. Like that's just an unsolvable
They're showing
problem.
they're throwing all the other behind the scenes stuff, and then there's kind of a gap. You don't see the dress rehearsal, and it just doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's possible to do this though, because I feel like on other like competition shows, like So You Think You Can Dance. I don't know if you guys have seen that one, but they do some good teasers of like, oh, we're rehearsing. Oh, this thing went wrong. Okay, now we're rehearsing in costumes. Like, ooh, this is hard, and then you see the whole thing, and like you feel very invested.
Well,
They could do a little bit more of like a diary style. It's like night 3, I finally get to go to the location for the first time. Like, oh man, that fountain's really scary. Like,
well, Rob, on that note, so
Yes.
like our favorite topic on this show.
Oh, is it time? I'm ready.
It's we gotta talk about the production schedule.
Yes.
Which, when I assume the show is like, oh, they spend a day, and then maybe that night they're doing this dance routine. Like I just expect it to be like a day long thing, but no, we found out in this is like they at least have 4 days of practice, at least for Octavius.
First of all, kudos to the show for giving us some insight into the production
Yeah, yeah,
schedule
yeah.
with some
Yes.
nice day 1, day 4 on the screen to let us know what's going on.
Yeah.
Unless, do we get into where they're lying to us about this schedule?
Oh my
I don't-
god.
nah,
I don't think so. I think
I don't think
I don't
so.
think so.
I think these
Well-
dances are super hard to learn. They take 4 days to learn. Like,
yeah, these dances definitely seem like they were like these definitely don't look like dancers. Like if they were dancers,
No.
sure, then they could be lying to me. But they look like regular people that like looked good dancing this like one dance. So,
But
like,
it definitely looks like people that have gone through some like crash course but aren't that familiar with doing this dancing. Like when they're doing the dance, that's definitely what it looks like in a good way. That you're like, okay, like they're trying hard and it looks cool, but they're clearly this is not their normal thing.
It's believable, right?
Yeah.
It's believable. It's obtainable. It's learnable. Like they do a great job. You got to think. Like I can't
I'm
imagine
sure-
trying to do what they're doing.
I'm sure it's not a whole day long thing. It's like 2 hours of practice. I don't think they're practicing for 8 hours.
I mean, well, they're not practicing the whole day because both the guy and the girl are practicing the same suit with the same instructors on the same day.
Yeah.
So it's definitely split up in some way.
So it's
But
like
I think they're getting some good hours of practice in every day. Like,
Oh, I'm
yeah.
sure.
Those instructors must be exhausted. Like especially that one girl that was like they were spinning around. That was in the second one I
was the
think. But
second
like
one,
it
yeah.
was some of those instructors are really having some big days for sure. You don't think so?
Professional dancers is
yeah,
no problem.
I agree. I think this is probably like one of the easier gigs for these professional dancers because these dances are not that intense.
Yeah, their moves that they're doing aren't, they're not the Super Bowl halftime show.
Yeah, I guess they're probably not really used to working with dancers of this caliber, but
We got
guess-
these like Emmy-winning choreographers.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
gotta
like-
be the hard part.
Like these dances are super complicated for these people that don't know what they're doing. For the professionals, is like this is like kid
No,
stuff. They're just
totally.
like, oh, whatever. This
I
is
guess
nothing.
the second question about this is are they filming 1 episode a week or 2 episodes a week?
so
They had different different
did.
teachers.
it was different dance instructors and made it look like the same studio. But maybe it's not the same studio, or maybe that studio has
like
different rooms.
second
You
floor,
could have
third
different ones
floor.
going on at the same time. But now I'm going down to like, what if like Mr. O shows up an hour early for his dance practice, and then the other person is still there, and like, oh, I'm seeing you too early and stuff.
I'm
Anyway.
sure that's part of their contract.
they gotta have some good processes around that. I don't think
Gotta trust the process.
you gotta.
What's the host name again?
Jenna.
You
But-
gotta, you gotta trust Jenna. She
But there's a
set it
clear thing
all
where
up.
Jenna is clearly there the first time they're meeting the dance instructor. Then when they're showing the different days, she's definitely not there, which aligns up with it actually being multiple days because she's not showing up for all the different days of the thing. She's filming her 15 minutes to intro everything and then getting out of there.
Yeah, well, you expect Will Arnett not to be there for 15 hours.
And then he is.
And he is, so I don't know.
I bet they paid Will Arnett more than they paid Jenna.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so like so the other contentious thing I have on the show is we see the dance and the choreography of just like the camera work is like nuts. Like
Yeah.
that's very well choreographed, and it's tough to tell if this is one take or not.
No, it's definitely one take.
I mean,
I
you
must believe in
definitely-
this because I cannot believe that the whole premise of the show is a
Right.
lie.
If
It
it's not one
definitely-
take, the show falls apart.
For
It
sure.
has to be. It has to be one take.
I
They're-
mean,
but-
they come out like they walk away from each other, and they're breathing pretty hard.
Yeah.
So it looks like one take, but some shots look like almost impossible to get unless it was another take.
I
They-
have
but
no
they have
idea
the
how they get
venue.
these shots.
They have the venue all planned out. Like they can like practice this choreography and like camera work. Like they have it ready to go.
But
I
I,
mean,
definitely feel there are
there's
times
some of those
where
cuts.
you see a camera shot and then it cuts to another camera shot, and there's no way the first camera was not in the shot
Yeah.
unless
It's that hyper zoom.
they're pulling some. I'm telling you, like they are pulling some big time cinematography camera moves here, and I can't explain it at all.
I got a
They-
I got a theory though. I got a potential explanation. We'll see if Chris buys it or not. So you mentioned the great from Truck Night in America. You got to drop to the letterbox for the real action shot. What if that's also a trick to
Oh.
hide some of the shot, and then that's how they hide the camera people that are like in the corner?
Interesting.
Man, maybe.
Like the framing doesn't line up with that theory. Like they're
I
showing
love
wide
this
angles
theory.
and things. My current running theory is that they're somehow they're photoshopping some of this stuff out
Yeah.
and like they're tweaking things.
Yes.
They're wearing clothing that blends in with the background and they're blurring and doing some stuff.
Put
I-
some lens flare in there.
I think
Yes.
I think that them comping it out after the fact is the most likely because like there are definitely some shots like you see a shot and then you see the exact reverse and like in an instant like it's weird. There's some weird stuff happening.
And I also don't know how they're getting because some of these shots look like they're on a track mounted system that's pivoting around them, but then they zoom out and there's no tracks, there's no nothing. How did they get that? Is there drones flying around?
Could
What
be
are they? It could be
drones.
drones. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, what if it's drones?
I
never
Yeah.
thought
hope
of
it's
that.
drones.
No, like seriously, some
It
of these
could be
shots are
drones.
unexplainable elsewise. It doesn't make any
And
sense.
the drones might explain the things we don't
Yeah.
because we weren't looking for drones. We're looking for cameramen.
No, I know, and they could get out of the frame pretty quick too. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, they just zoom up, right?
James, I think you cracked it.
I mean, it's
I think you
harder
might
to
have.
digitally remove drones, though.
Nah, you just paint that thing with the green color, dude.
The paintbrush.
No, you know the
Yeah, but-
green,
Oh, yeah.
the artificial
paper-
the green
green.
screen color.
paintbrush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just there's some shots where I'm like, that doesn't look right. But there's a lot of shots where like you see that transition where the camera looks really harsh, but then it looks exactly like they were moving right before that. So it's like it'd be really hard to match that up in a great way. Whereas like a lot of cuts, sometimes the cuts I saw were like, oh, they're like dragging somebody to a bench and then they do a harsh cut and it doesn't look like where they were. So that's like more where I think the cut was, but that was really early on in the dance and like who cares? But
Yeah.
in general, it's just like something to think about while we're watching this, and at least it came up.
Yeah, I mean, like I think just I mean, in general, like the cinematography and the way they shoot this thing is great. Like these look like movie scenes, basically. I mean, the way they shoot these.
it's excellent. Like we're debating how they pulled it off, but like they pulled off, it looks great.
That's
beautiful.
That's why we're debating how they pulled it off because it was like very impressive.
Yeah, normally we'd just be like, yeah, that's like if the camera work was less flashy,
Yeah.
I totally believe it was one shot. But like so flashy that it's like it gets me to question more.
Yeah, no, that's true.
It just
Not
looks
that
it's
I-
very polished and very produced. Like
Not that I don't appreciate it being flashy, but I also don't want to like have to think about is this real or not. Mm-hmm. So
It never crossed my mind that it wasn't real.
It definitely crossed my mind.
it was very much in my mind.
Maybe
So,
I'm
like,
too much of a flirty romantic.
So yeah, so after the dances, we're all sitting here thinking about who. This is the best part of the show to me. Is after they've done the dances, who do you think Octavius is gonna pick? And we all thought he was gonna pick the second one. She like seemed slightly more attractive, and
And then the more romantic dance, or so we thought.
They were both very attractive. They were both cuties.
no, I'm not saying that they weren't the other person.
Yeah.
was.
And then he gave her his jacket at the end, which was such
Yes.
a clutch move by Dr. O.
his jacket that's not actually his jacket. We can talk about the wardrobe stuff now too. If we want to talk
Let's do
about
it, let's do
wardrobe,
it.
we were having a debate when we were watching this show on whether or not they're dressing these people or if it's a bachelor situation where they're bringing their own clothes. I am 100% in the camp of they just have wardrobe and they're just dressing these people. Like, I mean, just with the level of production they have and all the cinematography and like they have matched the location with the song, with the dance, with the wardrobe and the cinematography, and it's one thing.
Annabeth, your friend Dave, Did he have to bring his own clothes to Beauty and the
course.
Geek?
He was on a program called Beauty and the Geek.
Yeah, I was assuming. But, I'm just trying to fill in some data points here.
But I think it's different if you're
It's
on a
definitely
show
different.
where the production schedule is you're there for like a period of weeks versus like we're gonna dress you for this one day and you're only there for like, well, I guess the other person, but like the people who only do one dance are there for like an hour and then out, and it's like, yeah, we can dress you for just that.
One
versus
outfit,
like,
one scene.
If you got to keep
I
changing
don't know.
every
I
day.
feel like dressing people is like really hard to do.
It's
No, it
not,
is.
dude. Like, I mean,
Nah.
like they're shooting TV shows and movies all the time, and they're dressing every single person who's on screen. I
And
mean,
the
like,
show is in LA. They have access
Yeah.
to
all this
literally
wardrobe.
everything.
Like,
All
they
right,
just went
all
to
right.
they just went to a thrift store and bought a bunch of shit, and it's like,
Dude,
all right.
I don't even think they have to go. They just go to the lot. They just go to the studio
Yeah.
wardrobe department. They're like, hey, this dude's jacket size is a 44 long.
Yeah.
Like, all right, get all of that. Let's get some options
For
out
sure.
there. It's one truckload. It's so easy.
Chris.
the
All
guys
right,
are
all right,
sure we
the
can
women
debate
with
the
the
production.
dresses is more complicated.
Sure.
Chris.
Yeah, and like absolutely on The Bachelor where there's like 30 contestants and they're there for like 3 months or whatever. Like you can't. I mean, this is a different situation.
How do you explain the matching pure white sneakers that they wore in dance number 1?
Yeah.
Did they individually pick those?
Target.
Like they went to, they were told
They
to
both-
go to Target?
Yeah. It's a survivor situation. Yeah. So back to this selection process. Like I thought it was going to be the second person, Mary Marie.
Mary Marie, that's right.
But he ended up picking the first person, which was Megan.
Plot twist.
Wow.
Plot twist. Did anyone remember what Mary Marie did?
No, you asked this earlier. We still don't know.
Sorry. It's just like there's another aspect of this. Like she's 32, just going to starting school. So she's starting a new career at 32. It's like
Yeah,
maybe you would expect somebody to like have a better handle on what
but
they like.
he
their
didn't know
careers.
that. He just
I
knew
know,
about-
I know.
He just looked
I
in
was-
her eyes.
And he saw. He saw her soul.
So there's one more thing about the dancing. I think is the fact that they can't talk to each other, including after the dance is done, and they just kind of have to walk away. And like they just kind of stare at each other, and all of them, it's like, are they just about to make out? Because this is going to happen. And then I was thinking, like, what do the producers tell them of like, if you talk, this is what's going to happen? Because like I feel like if you like, and what if like you
Yeah.
accidentally say like, oh, that was great, and it's like, and then you like, oh no, I talked, and then like a sniper takes you out, or like what's going on with this?
I
Man,
mean-
I was like just thinking it was gonna make an air horn or something, but like you really took it to a whole nother level.
I don't know. These producers are serious, James.
I think that there could be a monetary thing like, oh, well, you get half pay if you talk. If you like
No
talking
way.
things.
They bought into the process. There's no way you have to incentivize these people. They're on this show.
What do
They
you
want to
mean?
do
This is a-
thing.
This is a show where this is very important for this shot. If it's
Right.
one take, then like they can't have them talk at all.
They're not going rogue.
They're not
They want
actor-
to be there.
They're not actors.
I guess
No.
the other part is that they're pretty out of breath at the end, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be hard to talk.
But also, like, yeah, what do you say? Like, I think if they accidentally said something and then ran away, that'd also be really cute. But I don't think they don't want to talk.
I
They
don't know.
bought
I think
into
they
the
do.
process.
They were like, "Oh, that was great. You're amazing. Let's talk." But no, you have to wait 3 days and then meet you in some cafe somewhere. Maybe.
I just
Maybe.
don't think you understand the process.
I definitely don't understand the process.
They're all in on the process.
You should trust the process.
You gotta trust the
I
process.
would love
I mean,
Chris
I'll
on
trust-
Flirty Dancing. Let me
Me
just say.
too.
Yes.
Wow, Chris, I'll go on Temptation Island if you go on Flirty Dancing.
You first.
No, we have to go at the same time.
Okay.
We
You
have to
said-
submit our audition
you-
tapes at
you-
the exact same instant.
you
Those
set
are
it
not
up.
anywhere close to being equivalent experiences. Temptation Island versus the show.
Yeah,
we
well, then
we
you have
do
to.
what we must do.
Annabeth really wants to be on Temptation.
Yeah, you're really angling for this
Think
Temptation
about-
Island.
Think about all the production questions we could answer
I mean, that's
if
true.
we go on the inside of
Oh,
two different
man.
networks reality shows.
Then we can never talk about it on the pod.
and we're
You
gonna
never-
have to break up another.
Your
That's true.
stipulation for being on the show is like, I need to be able to talk about it.
And then
on
be
the
like,
pod.
all right,
That's
guess
true.
you're not on the show.
Harrison also said during the end of this, was the people that didn't get picked. You got to put their email up so you can email them.
Get that email up.
Oh yeah, we haven't
call-
talked about this in a while, but this is a
Call back
constant
to our
request.
If You Are the One podcast.
Yeah.
So listen to that one if you want to know what that means.
I think this is a big problem with this show is like you don't get any inner lives of the other two people on it when they're just equal sort of contenders in this weird game. You only get to follow Octavius, but these women, who are they? How'd they get here?
Well, you know, she's the catch. That's what she said when she didn't get picked.
I know she's a catch, but tell me more. What's her
I
middle
don't-
name?
I
I don't know.
Marie.
So after Octavius picks Megan, we've got Erin. She's 21. She's a hairstylist, and she has a really squeaky voice.
Mm-hmm.
Or like high pitched, kind of like mousy kind of voice. Can anyone imitate? Anyone want?
I can't imitate, but her words were that she has the voice of a 12-year-old that she's been stuck with, and she's very self-conscious about it. And I think it's affected her like in a lot of ways.
I'm sure it would, yeah.
Yeah, she said that people would call her squeaky toy. If that.
That's
you know.
really mean.
I didn't
Harsh.
say anything.
Yeah.
I didn't say.
She
that.
does sound a little bit like Minnie Mouse, I think is what I thought when she was
thought
speaking.
I had no problem with her voice at all.
Really?
Yeah.
It was like a little bit surprising initially, but like, I don't have a problem with
Yeah.
it.
Once she talked for like a minute, like it was over.
But it was also like the fact that they made such a big deal about it made me focus on it more. Like it became like a self-fulfilling thing of
Yeah.
now I'm really thinking about this voice every time she's talking because she kind of put it in my head.
Well, it's like it seemed like with a lot of these people, they had to have some kind of reason or context for wanting to participate in the flirty dancing process. Like normal dating wasn't working for them for some reason. And like they think that this unique approach to dating is going to be the way. And then and this person is basically, well, every time like the way it was basically explained in the show is like, well, every time I talk to people, like they just, hate my voice so much and I can't like ever make a good first impression on anybody. So I want to do this flirty dance so I don't have to talk. We can just dance and make that initial connection.
Yeah, I mean, she's just 21. She's just too early to be like, I can't get a date. Like, blah, 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 like, just, it's too early for that. But like, yeah, this one was like,
I feel like we're getting a look in behind the curtain over here on Chris.
I'm just,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just makes more sense when a 39-year-old woman comes over and says like, yeah, I can't get a good date for whatever reason. She's like, I don't know. Anyway.
No, I agree in that like it's like the people on The Bachelor when they're like I've tried everything and they're like 20 and they're like so I must be wed.
I mean, like even for Dr. Octavius, they they kind of gave this weird reason. He's like, yeah, sometimes like because I'm a big guy, like people are kind of like frightened by me at first. Like he kind of said something like that, and that he's like, yeah, but I just want to show my playful side with this dance.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I can see that. They're like,
Oh,
he's
totally.
a big dude.
For
Like,
sure.
He's definitely like an XL, men's XL
like-
kind of dude.
But like, especially with this guy and how he's just like so like outwardly like warm and like jovial. Like, I mean, I'm sure he makes a pretty good first
But,
impression.
like-
yeah, I mean, his other excuse was like, he works like 12 hours a day from 8 to 8. He doesn't have a lot of time. People are kind of intimidated. I don't know. Like, it seems very believable to me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not saying that I don't believe him, but
okay.
like I think that they're definitely having to find like a special reason for them to participate in this process.
It was more obvious with Aaron
Yeah.
than it was with Octavius. Like it's just like, oh, okay. Like, all right. You just don't get a great idea either. Like you don't there's like one sentence or two sentence blurb and then they just kind of move on to introducing the other people. Like they introduced like the Brandon, which is the first guy. He's like a real estate agent. Like really quickly. Like it was like they didn't even really intro him. He was just like kind of there. That was really weird. And then they introduced Alec, which was a composer. He got a lot of screen time because he's like unique.
He had
as
an
like a
interesting
young
story.
composer. Like he actually had a story that like any of us kind of cared about. He seemed pretty jovial too.
But before they told us he was a composer, he was comparing his dating life to piano notes, and I was very much like, "Oh, I don't know about this guy." Then he found he was a composer, like, "Okay, I guess I kind of get why they're
Yeah.
doing this."
Yeah. Yeah. You're definitely one of those cliche things. And they're like, oh, he's like composing and in front of an orchestra and like he was a conductor. Like, yeah, okay. I get that makes sense.
We are told by Jenna that Brandon is the strong and stable type, and what's the other guy's name?
Alec.
Alec is the creative one. They will appeal to different sides of her personality.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just
I
kind
think
of
this is very important. I
Yep.
think the way they
yeah.
frame it with they put her in the middle of the screen and they have the boys appear from other sides of the screen. It's very interesting.
Bring in those Dr. Pepper insights. That's what we need.
I know. I just want more about the matching process. Who was the pool of
we
candidates?
need the Dr. Pepper show, like that show before Married at First Sight. That's what we really
You need a spin-off show where they're just talking about the process.
Yeah, we need that book. Is there a Dr. Pepper process book about how she picks the?
Dr. Pepper has to have a book at this point. She's been on TV long enough, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I can't imagine she doesn't. Yeah, the internet corner.
I'll see what I can find.
or a podcast.
So I mean, I'm ready to move. Like, they perform their dance at what is called the Hollywood Bowl, which is like apparently somewhat famous. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've heard of it. I think it's
Yep.
reasonably famous.
Like, it was a pretty it was an empty stadium. It was a really cool place to like stage these dances. I think that they worked really well.
It's like a big, like empty kind of outdoor amphitheater sort of thing. It's cool.
Yeah, and Brandon did the first dance to "If I Can't Have You" by somebody. I don't know.
This was Shawn Mendes.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I don't think Brandon did a very good job of dancing. He seemed a little stiff.
Well, that was kind of foreshadowed a little bit during the training montage where they're just portraying him as this big, kind of tall, awkward, gangly sort of guy.
This
And they kept on trying to teach him how to do this move where you kind of like roll from the top of your body to the bottom, and he's just like, wait, but how do you roll this way? And it was just like this big montage of him not figuring this role out, and he never figured it out. It wasn't in the final thing.
This is the one dance I felt like there were cuts in.
Seemed like there was some weird stuff happening.
That's just like serious. If I were to like slow mo this one, I'd be like, oh, there was.
I think that part of the test on this, like, were there any cuts, is going to be like by the time you get to the end of the season, like, are there going to be any major screw ups or stumbles in any of these numbers? Because I refuse to accept that these total novice dancers who've been trained for 5 days are going to all flawlessly execute this dance in every single episode.
I think that proves me right.
I think it
I
might.
think this whole season's going to be all perfect dances, and it's all because like, oh, well, we have a design cut here, so if you mess up, we're gonna and you're gonna go back to here.
No, I will not believe this.
Yeah. Here's the thing. We saw some very minor miscues.
For sure.
But you brought up a good point, which is I think that they will help them with the camera and cinematography work with those amazing drones. So like when they glitch, like maybe they cut, like when
Different
they
angle.
take a step. Like
And they do cut back to the host, Jenna, talking to one of the choreographers and like having reactions to like what's happening. Like that could be very well timed.
right. I think they're doing favorable cuts to make them look as good as they can.
Okay. I mean, we've talked about
gonna
it enough.
Defend the process.
Let's
We got
briefly
Alec.
talk about the one part of this dance where he drags her on her back across these wooden like benches. Like
Yeah.
all the way across a row, wooden benches. She is wearing a short dress. Her arms are exposed. Her legs are exposed. Splinters.
No, I think she was like pushing with her feet too. Like I don't think she was like fully laying down.
But
She
had
was
some
pushing,
contact
but it
with
looked
that.
risky.
It really comes down to like I can see a world where it was just the dress touch, like, but I don't know how much that dress protects against
I know that
the
was
friction.
a thin material. We
Well,
saw
we
it
don't-
flutter.
We don't know what was underneath. Maybe
Yeah.
They could have got.
You're gonna wear this Kevlar
Body armor.
bodysuit.
That's like if they're dressing them and they're like, okay, we got to drag you across this bench. They're like, this is how we're gonna make it work. you
I think
know?
they waxed
Maybe.
that bench up.
That's also possible. Like, maybe there was
I
like,
hope so.
what if there was like a
Sanded
thin,
it.
transparent thing they put down on the bench? Like it'll
That'd be
slide.
okay.
And- yeah,
That'd
I
be
don't know.
okay.
No, I don't know.
I
Very
was
distracting to the viewer who does not know that though.
I was very much like, whoa, that's
Yikes.
a dangerous move.
A daring stunt.
Yeah, I mean, after every dance, though, everyone says positive things about the other person. So after this dance, Aaron seemed like really excited.
Oh yeah.
Like I definitely thought that Aaron was going to pick this person.
I definitely thought they were gonna make out at the end of it. Like it was really close. It seemed like it.
For both For both dances, it looked like Aaron is about to make out.
I mean,
like
Here's the
this is-
thing, though. Like, you've been practicing for days, all for this moment, and then you do it. You're like, well, that was nuts, right? Like,
For sure.
Depends. Like, if you haven't met the other person yet, so like. You're just going through this crazy process. Like, man, I can't believe I didn't talk to this. I just met this person. We just did this dance. I can't believe I didn't screw it up totally.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna be excited no matter what, just to be through it.
And to some
So-
degree, you've got the like adrenaline stuff from just, hey, I tried to do this dance and I didn't totally screw it up, and I was able to successfully just do the dance. Forget about even the other person, and it's like, what did you think of that other person? And like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
They smelled radiant.
And you're gonna be like, he wasn't as good of a partner as the guy in the studio.
oh yeah.
That was surprising. There was no comments around the dance quality.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those are probably just cut. So then we got Alec. He dances at night to Perfect.
With an intro by him.
Like, yeah, he composed an intro.
Perfect by Mr. Ed Sheeran.
So, like, basically at the beginning of the rehearsal week, they drop in this guy. It's like, hey, you're a composer, right? You want to compose an intro to this thing? And, like, I wonder, I mean, did he actually just compose that during the week where this is happening in his spare time when he wasn't practicing this dance? Or, like, did he come in with a
He
piece?
just
Or,
pulled
like,
it out of his pocket, man. He's like, oh, yeah, this is this thing I've been dabbling on.
yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
like it had to be a pre-existing piece. He's just like, all right, I got
Maybe
something.
tweaks it a little bit, you know.
If he's actually a professional composer, it might be he's just got all these things in his catalog.
Yeah.
That he's allowed to just be like, oh yeah, let me get something from the back, and yeah, we can,
Yeah.
30 seconds, sure, no problem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not that long. It's like it's really quick. He just
Yeah.
has to pick something like in a similar key to like Mr. Edward Sheeran's masterpiece, and we're cool.
My next question: do you think he got paid for that piece of music?
Nah.
Definitely not.
He's not getting a royalty from them using it.
He should be.
I think he should get a royalty for it. But
You-
whether he is or
You know
not,
who
I
did
don't
get
know.
paid? Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, I mean,
Like he's like, I need a royalty if you can use my music. Like, okay, fine, we don't need to do that.
yeah, no, 100%.
Do you think like I don't know, like I know like I've heard some of these songs before, like, and I wasn't super fond of it. And if I was on the show and they were like, you're gonna be dancing to this, do I have any say? Could I be like, no, I hate this?
you have to trust the process.
I know, but what if the process has led me astray? I wonder if maybe when you come on the show, you tell them like you get to tell them like artists you don't like or something.
Maybe
I
you
wonder
fill
if
out
also
the form. Yeah.
Or maybe they play some songs for you and get
I don't
your
even think it's
vibe.
that. I think this is like you submit like 20 songs you like.
We're getting too much of the weeds here. Like,
Oh, for sure.
What? You guys talked 20 years about if they're cutting the shots together. I just want to talk about the music selection. What are you talking about?
I wonder if the first person gets to pick, but then once he's locked in the two songs, he or she's locked in the two songs, then the other people are just like, this is the song you're doing. And
Yeah.
that's
here's
it.
here's what happens.
Yes.
You get a playlist sent to you. Be like, hey, here are the songs you're thinking about. Which ones do you hate, or which give me a ranking or whatever. Which ones you like, which ones you don't mind, and which ones you would hate. And then they just then they ignore it and pick whatever songs they want.
Yeah.
But maybe they'll look at maybe they'll look at it.
This is why I think it'd be so fun if the people on the show could pick the songs. Because, can you imagine if you're rolling up there and it's like, I want Pretty Fly for a White Guy by The Offspring. And, they have to do that. That would be so
I'd rather
delicious.
see somebody do Blue.
That's good. That's so good.
That's good. What?
You get a little more about their personality if you know that they chose this song.
So going back to the process, I love if there was some partnership with Spotify or where they upload your history
Yes.
and be like, we found a
Yes.
song that is compatible with both of your listening habits.
Yeah.
And
That's
here it is.
really good.
It's Ed Sheeran
Ah!
for half the people that are on this thing because everyone's just listening to Ed Sheeran.
I like this.
Rob, I think you have a future doing brand integrations.
So on the song, there's one thing we didn't talk about related to the songs of, it's not clear to me when they're doing the dancing how they are hearing the music they're dancing to.
Yes, I was thinking
Yeah.
about this. I want to know how loud it is in this public park, especially.
So I was actually trying to look and see if they had
AirPods or some like small thing in their ear, and they're like, it didn't look like it.
I think they're blasting
I think
it.
it's
Do you think they're just-
big speakers off camera.
Like at the Hollywood Bowl, it's pretty obvious how you would do that. But like when they're just in this park with the fountain and there's random people walking around, and then you just start blasting.
I think
I think I saw. I think I saw on the corner when I saw some producers hiding in the bushes. I think I saw a speaker.
You saw a speaker. So there's just a speaker, and they're just blasting.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think they're
it's-
just pumping it.
basically the same way I think that they do like music videos where they have to like lip sync and dance in like music videos. I think they just blast it off of some big speakers by the cameras.
Got
Do
it.
you wish that they were also lip syncing?
That'd be kind
No,
of great.
It ruins the you're not talking thing.
That's true.
you-
You're like, oh no, you don't sound
You
like
gotta
Shakira.
you gotta have that straight face, sensual look going.
Nice.
But flirty lip sync battle.
Flirty
be-
lip sync battle.
Ooh.
So after we get Alec dancing,
Yeah.
we get to decide. We get the best part of the show for me is where we just Aaron gets to choose between the two, Alec or Brandon, and I thought it was gonna be Brandon. Brandon was classically the more attractive, taller gentleman, and she was pretty young. I thought that might be the like go-to, but in surprise, she picks Alec. He seemed like the more fun and like individual, I guess.
So-
Creative.
I know they say creative, but like, how does somebody look more creative than somebody else? Like, that doesn't mean anything.
You see him composing.
So I picked she was gonna pick Alec, but I totally was just like, after being surprised in the first one, be like, I wonder if they're actually trying to kind of put some things to make you think one way and flip it on you, and that's the only reason why I picked Alec. Is like I would like feel like it's setting up for Brendan pretty well, so I'm like, I'm gonna pick Alec. So I wonder if this is like a theme on the show that it's always the one you didn't think, and it's the producers doing their stuff to kind of try and trick you.
I'm sure. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, you only get a brief, like, you spend like the 3-4 minutes of the actual song watching this dance. So, like, you don't have a whole lot of time outside that.
Do you think the dancing is a good way to judge compatibility?
Judge compatibility? I think
If
it's-
you dance with two people, do you think you would actually know anything?
No. I don't think so. Like,
I don't know. I think
I mean, you know something, but like, I don't know if that's like compatibility.
Okay.
Like, if I did this dancing thing and this other person was like, I'm homeless, living in my parents' like basement, like, no, I'm okay. Like, I'll see you later.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm not sure if it's a good predictor of whether or not you'll, get married to that person and live happily ever after. I mean, it's a good indicator of like if there's an initial kind of like
A spark?
vibe or spark kind of there,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that brings into my last point is like, in the credits of the show, they showed like a clip that got sent in about like 6 weeks or 6 or 8 dates later, depending on which video they looked at, of them still together. So like, that's way better than like any reality show we've ever seen. A, they don't show us, or B, it's like, well, in like Dating Naked, this person lives in like Missouri and this person lives in like London. Like, yeah, that's just not going to happen. Whereas like all these people live in LA. So it's like, and I think that you had a really fun first date. Like, as long as you click, you're probably going to click the second date. Cause like the one person's thought about you for 3 days, essentially. And the other person has also kind of thought about you for 3 days. There's a lot of buildup
And
to
then
this like second date.
and then
Yeah.
like even after that, like I'm sure you don't even get to spend that much time together, and like, you have probably like a bunch of stuff you want to talk about. So it's definitely easy to roll into a third date, fourth date.
And it's not like you don't have anything to start a conversation on.
Yeah.
Because you just did a crazy TV show.
Exactly.
You're
It's
like,
like-
can you believe
Flirty
how
thing.
they cut those clips together to make it look like we danced?
can you believe that they CGI'd the whole thing?
Think about those suckers.
They actually just like kind of 3D scanned their bodies, and then one of those dance instructors just mocap the whole thing, and it's
Whoa.
just it's good to
Oh,
go.
that'd be incredible. All right, back to the internet corner. So, searching on Amazon for Dr. Pepper is not the best way to find relationship books. But then I did a series of searches. So, Pepper Schwartz has written a lot of books. I don't know if you want me to
Ooh.
start listing off titles, but
What's her
her
best-selling?
website does list the number, which is 25.
25.
What's their number one bestseller?
I know it's the bestseller. The first one that shows up on Amazon is Finding Your Perfect Match: 8 Keys to Finding Lasting Love Through True Compatibility.
There you go. That makes sense. That's the process you need to follow. anyone-
Dr. Pepper over.
Did you just like prescribe that as the?
Yeah.
You must follow this
that's-
process to find love.
Send me a prescription pad. I'll write it for you.
Sponsored by Smirnoff and Dr. Pepper. Not the beverage.
Is
What a
Smirnoff and
combination.
Dr. Pepper a drink in a weird?
Is that our love month
Like that would
drink?
probably work, right? Like a.
I'm sure- I don't
Smirnoff
know.
Dr.
It's
Pepper.
a
Or do you
soft
just-
drink and some kind of vodka. Yeah, sure.
I think you just pivot to the flaming Dr. Pepper at that point.
Oh.
Oh.
But you don't use Dr. Pepper in a flaming Dr. Pepper.
Details.
All right. Anyone got any other minutia? Or are we ratings? All right. I'm gonna go. You want to go first?
No, well, I mean,
You have some.
the last general comment that I want to say about the
Yeah,
show
yeah,
is
you're
that
in,
like
Misha.
I think that I like shows like this where like I love the piece of content that is like the dance and like the letterbox thing and it's really nicely shot. Like this show basically like part of why it's smart I think is they've designed it for every episode they're going to output 2 pieces of like internet content like for other people to watch and like to get sucked into like future weeks of the show. So I think like that part of it I think is really really smart too.
All right. So.
I feel like you're teed up really well for a rating there.
So for my
give
rating-
a rating, Harrison.
I thought it was good. I liked it. I mean, I'm curious to know kind of how different future episodes are, or if it's kind of more of the same. Because I think that there's a lot that's sort of riding on like the getting invested in the different people and the different episodes, and like I think that they didn't maybe do as good of a job on that side of things in this one. So I mean, it's a middle third show. I liked it. I might watch another episode, but yeah.
Annabeth, what do you got?
I want to bring up something that I've forgotten until now, but I have a fact about this show. So this show is like based on a UK show, same premise and everything, but the difference is that the UK show, there isn't this like competition between 2 people. Like it's just like I am not choosing between 2 people. It's just me and some other person learn this dance and we dance together and then we decide if we want to meet up again.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was thinking about that, and I think to me that is a more compelling premise because I think you could go deeper into the lives of 2 people and their motivations and maybe get a little bit more of that intro that I felt was missing in this show.
Yeah.
Anyway, just interesting. Thought I'd bring that up before we finished out our round here.
I mean, just on that note, like I think that is a more compelling show. Part of this reason, which I'll get into, that as I never felt compelled enough by these people. There wasn't enough time. Like it's weird to compete in this way. Like you just had a really fun dance with somebody, and you're like, well, I had a slightly more fun dance with this other person. So like, see ya. Like it's,
I wonder if I don't know actually know how it works on the UK show, but I think it'd be interesting like if we dance together and then we both have to decide if we want to hang out again. Like that's interesting because maybe it's both people do or don't, or it's one. Like that's very interesting.
oh yeah, game theory. Here we go.
Yeah. I
It's
think
some
that
sort
is
of
more compelling
prisoner's
to me than
dilemma.
this weird thing where like I pick between 2 people, but we don't even know what they want.
But why not? Like, what you dance with someone, and you're like, why not actually like, oh, let's just actually meet this person one time and find who they are. Like,
Yeah,
just,
maybe
I don't know. Maybe you're really
What's-
judgy.
I don't know what this UK thing, but like, I wonder like what are the
That's
people that
true.
don't meet up, and
I'm
what are the
sure they
reasons for
almost
not
always
meeting
meet up.
Like,
They
that's-
must.
I wonder if that's why they decide to mix up. They're like, that part's not compelling enough. I don't know.
Maybe.
but like then you actually still care about those people though.
Like, it has to be a thing of like you dance one time if you choose to meet up, or you get $5,000 or something like that.
Or you get the chance to dance with someone else.
or you get
Maybe
Ooh,
it's that. Maybe it's like I
yeah.
dance with Chris and I have to decide like if Chris is worth it or if I want to like roll the dice.
So sort of if you are the one.
Yeah,
situation.
okay.
Yeah. See, I think that could be very good.
Fox, call us. We can fix
Got
this
some
show.
ideas.
When is this not our just resume to be a producer on a reality show?
They call us the reality fixers. Call
All
us
right,
up.
ABC, give us your rating.
I enjoyed the show overall. I really liked the dance segments. I thought that was really cool. I think we've already discussed many of our issues with this show, so I'm putting it in the middle third. And I'm disappointed because I thought I was going to really love this show. So, a sad middle third. I also
Sad.
have a couple of ratings adjustments that I want to bring up, but we can do that after
Yeah,
the main
let's do
ratings.
that after. Rob, what do you got?
I'm debating between middle and bottom. Like we've talked about, there's a couple things I really like, but there's a couple things we didn't get into some of the very questionable commercial break editing choices they made, but they're
Oh,
very
yeah.
egregious. I think I'll go put in the middle. I think there's some things that are kind of like like someone said of like, just the YouTube channel of just show me the dances and nothing else is probably way better than actually watching the show. And I think the show is kind of somewhat fatally flawed of being a show I'd want to watch, but it's got some interest. It's an interesting enough premise and it's got some good stuff. So I'll give it a middle, but a tepid bottom of the middle kind of thing.
I'm gonna go with bottom third, Bob. I think that I didn't care about any of the people really. Like there are brief moments where I cared, but then like the dancing is just like not my thing. So like, that's why it goes on the bottom. I was kind of checked out most of it. James, what do you got for me?
So with this one, I agree on the dancing front. Like I'm not super into the dancing shows and all of that. However, I thought the actual dance scene was clearly the best part of this show, which was a surprise turn there. But I think it really just hits on all the notes I already mentioned, just around like it's hard to get kind of early on invested in the people themselves. And I think because of that, I am not super intrigued to watch more of it. Because I'm like, well, like if it's just the same show with different people, like I feel like I've already seen what the show is, which was good. So I feel like I've kind of gotten the best out of it. But having said that, the production quality, amazing. The cinematography, absolutely wonderful. Like the visual and like the way that they do this is really cool to see. So like that was just really impressive. But yeah, having said all that, right in the middle, it's not really going to go out of my way to probably watch more of it. But at the same time, it brings a lot of good vibes, positivity. And if it was on, I wouldn't be opposed to watching more of it. So we're in the middle.
All right, so I got some other ratings from people that are usually on this pod, but decided they were going to skip. We've got Max. He has middle third, middle of the middle. I'm having trouble suspending disbelief that it's all one take, and that seriously distracts. Also, I wish they used the audio from over the speakers to give it some more authenticity. The core of it is not bad. That's the great review from Max.
They wanted to look like a movie scene and not a reality show. Like that's just all it is.
I mean, we talked about
for
it.
sure.
Like he's not here to also chime in on it. So then we also have Brian. Brian also watched the show with us. He has top of the middle. Producers kept it moving nicely. The stars kept it flirty.
Yeah, Brian, yes.
And they gave a small follow up at the end. Which I agree. That's like the two best parts about the show was like the trying to guess which one and the like follow up at the end.
Follow up was good, yeah.
Usually
Really appreciate
you never
the
get
follow-up.
follow up. So like the fact that the simple follow up is just great.
Do you think this show would work if it was like not dancing but something else? Like what if it's like one-on-one foosball?
Fishing at first sight.
Fishing. Making barbecue. 8 hours.
How do you make barbecue for 8 hours and not talk though?
You can't talk. The producers will snipe you.
What if it's building Lego but you can't talk?
Oh. I like this premise. What if this show, it was like not flirty dancing, it was just flirty activities, and every episode, different activity.
So it's dating naked.
no,
dating flirty.
you're clothed by Stitch Fix or whatever their sponsor is.
All right, Annabeth, what are your rating updates that you
Oh, I'm putting Circle in the top.
To the
Circle
top.
was great. Watched all of it. Loved it. It was great. Really warmed up to that guy. On the other hand, I think I rated American Pickers in the middle. Bottom. It's going down. After some thoughtful reflection, nah.
You watched another episode of American Pickers?
No, I just thought about it a lot after that
What?
one episode, and I was like, why'd I put in the middle? It does not deserve that.
That is
I like Flirty Dancing, for example, so much better than American Pickers. It cannot be on the same level. So those are my ratings adjustments.
That's why
Thank
you gotta
you.
have the 9 ranking scale. Then like
Mm-hmm.
it's much easier. You know,
I know.
to be
Next
like-
season, I'm going to go back to the 9.
Then go back to the 9.
Get a little more precise.
Clearly, it's the best system for rating things.
It is, and I fell off it, and I regret it.
Yeah. So the only thing I've really been watching is I've watched a couple more episodes of The Other Way, 90 Day Fiance, The Other Way.
Oh man.
It's so bananas. Like there's so many red flags in all of these relationships. It is crazy that these things got to this point where all of them have moved to these. Well, all but one have moved to like this foreign country by now, and it's like, Oh, just like deer in headlights.
That really sums it up. I like that.
Yeah. The only problem is it's TLC, and they're doing so many recap. It's
Oh,
going
yeah.
so slow. Like they could speed it up. There's like 24 episodes a season or something. Like it really needs to go faster, but it is fascinating. Like this woman that moves the guitar, like
Oh god.
oh buddy, like she is out of her element and an idiot. Like she leaves her like 20-year-old son at home. Like it's just like I can't. You're such an idiot.
Still
So-
top third though, right?
Oh, easily top third.
All right.
You'll see this in the top in
This is
the
coming
season
back.
finale for
All right.
sure. 100%. Rob, you got an update for us, Rob?
I'll give you the quick update. Mass Singer, episode 2. So they're doing something different this season. I think is good. So they started with 6, the first episode. Second episode, the same 5 sang again. They didn't bring in new people. Next episode is going to be the same 4, and then they're going to take those 3 and save them and do another group of 6. Also, production schedule potential update. I'm pretty sure the judges were wearing the same clothes in the first and second episode. And it's the same singers. It's like they're trying to bust
Oh.
out multiple episodes in the same day now.
It's definitely a 3-episode a day thing now.
Yeah, they're doing 3 and getting some stuff out. And so last week I said the White Tiger, I was pretty sure was Rob Gronkowski. I have no reason to change that. He was not a good singer this time, and he did not get voted out. And I got to be honest, I'm not sure I can trust the process. Like, what is going on with these people voting other people out? So the person who voted out was the Llama, and there were clues that it was potentially a comedian, and there was a Seattle reference. There was guesses of Joel McHale. There was guesses of Kelsey Grammer, and it was Drew Carey.
Drew Carey.
That's
What
a
is this
good
Seattle
one.
reference?
He is a part owner of the Seattle Sounders soccer team, and so apparently he's in Seattle all the time. And then he plugged it they're the defending champs now. So
Why didn't he think it was like Cleveland? He was on that Cleveland
because it would have been
show.
too obvious. It was a misdirection.
It was definitely a misdirection.
For sure.
That's what we call the old red herring.
the Seattle comedian.
Yeah, I like it wasn't like one of those top like, oh, this is really like a professional singer performances, but I thought it was decent. And so I was very much like, what's going on? How is Gronk's done? So if Gronk makes it to the 3 to go to the next round, this is gonna be an outrage. But
What if he wins it all?
then you can't trust the process.
He
the
bought
process
the
is
show.
broken. So I will be shocked if it's not him unmasked this week because I can't see any other way it goes. And then we'll get new people after that.
Yeah. So anyone else have anything they want to talk about?
So I don't have an update, but I have a little bit of a preview. Starting tonight, Survivor season 40, the
Oh, yeah.
All Champions season. Definitely going to be checking that out. If any listeners are watching the season, tweet at us. But
Yeah.
it should be
Man,
interesting.
That's a big battle. All champions.
Yeah.
All people that win know how the hell to do this thing.
Winners at war.
Yeah.
Name of
So
the
they got to
season.
throw they got to change up the format or something, right? They got to throw all kind of shit at them.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna be a tough one.
Or they throw nothing at them. No food, nothing.
Just play the game.
They're just like, you got to forage. You're out there. Have fun.
Oh, it's like Naked and Afraid style.
yeah.
I was gonna say they're naked.
But the question is on everyone's mind is there a redemption house?
Oh, very possible.
I might stop watching.
I mean, the last season I watched of Survivor, there was a Redemption Island for sure. So
I'm actually watching a really old season, which I probably brought up on this pod before, but like season 13. And it's like so weird because like people just don't understand how to like play the game and how to like, we're in this alliance and they go down to like 5 people and they're like, oh, there's 4 of us, but only 3 of us can go. Oh crap, how do I make sure that I'm the last 3? And it's like, well, you should have thought about that when there was like 7 people left and 8 people left, not when there's like 4 people left. Like it's just like not how that game works.
man, what do you think? Like the Circle season 40 is gonna be like the strategies. It's gonna be
I can't imagine that show working again.
The all
yeah,
winners
it's gonna be
season
so
of the
weird.
Circle?
Yeah, be so
So-
weird.
Well, then Shoe Bomb won't be back. It'll
Well,
be
then you,
Shuby.
but someone could doppelganger a shoe bomb.
I think Shoebomb's like Miss Congeniality of his season. He'll get back.
You think so?
Like Shuby would be on like an All Star season.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
Yeah, I think that the circle is just so made by like the 4 people that were there at the end that like I don't think they could recreate that.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be way different the next time they do it.
I think if they did the circle again, they can't introduce so many people like after the core group has met each other because like
That's very like UK reality show thing to do. Like we've seen that a bunch where they just Love Island, like let's bring in new people. Whereas like I guess when you're like just trying to bang people, like bringing new people in kind of works. But like if you're trying to make friends, like it just like
friends who
mean-
you can't see who are catfishing you.
Maybe season 2 of The Circle is more about banging people. You never know.
could be. Get that boom boom room.
Oh.
All right. Well, you can find us on Twitter at HoopWithUsOn. You can find us on Facebook.com/HoopWithUsOn. You can email us questions and suggestions at HoopWithUsOn@gmail.com. And let us know if you're watching Survivor, because we will. See ya next time.
How is your mic? How many mics does a mic have to get mic'd up?